Coming up next on NewsDepth, could these teens be the first female Eagle Scouts? We'll introduce you. Plus, Philly shows off what it looks like to count tons of ballots. Let it snow. The white stuff is helping extinguish Colorado's wildfire. And Detective Newscat has found a pair of masked bank robbers. NewsDepth is now. And the next president of the United States is... Hey everybody, I'm Rick Jackson. Thank you for joining us. I really wish I could finish that opening sentence, but I can't just yet. That's because we're recording this week's NewsDepth right now, and it's only Monday, the 2nd of November, the day before Election Day. By the time you're watching this, maybe a winner has been announced, though it's looking like this election will take longer than usual to get all the votes counted. That is partly because more folks opted to mail in ballots this year due to the pandemic. Also, each state has its own rules about voting. Some states count mailed in ballots first, some count them last. So the estimates of when final counts will be range from the day after Election Day all the way to the end of the month. So what's going on here in Ohio? Well, ballots sent by mail will still be accepted up until the 13th of November if they were postmarked on or before Election Day. Our state's official count must be finalized by the 28th of the month. Hopefully it won't take until then, though. So let's go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. While plenty of mailed-in ballots arrived before Election Day, their laws say they can't be tallied until then. The officials gave the media a preview of what the big count looks like, though. Dan Koob has our scoop.
There are a lot of new noises inside the convention center. Scanners, sorters, printers, all machinery now being utilized to count over 250,000 mail-in ballots from Philly.
Philadelphians seem to have really embraced the mail-in voting at levels that have taken other jurisdictions that have voted by mail. Primarily, it's taken them years to achieve the level that we have achieved here in Philadelphia.
Chairwoman Lisa Deely of the Philadelphia City Commissioner's Office says they will have plenty of space for poll watchers and media to see the process in action. They say any tampering won't be tolerated, and according to Mayor Jim Kenney, his office has been coordinating with Philadelphia police to make sure whoever wins November 3rd, citizens remain safe.
We're concerned about security in the city all the time. We do recognize that there's going to be an emotional outburst one way or the other, and we're prepared for it.
Among the machinery are 12 scanners capable of coding 32,000 ballots per hour. But as far as an official count, Deely doesn't know how quickly that will come on November 3rd.
Based on the amount of ballots that we receive, we'll be able to announce those expectations in those days, in the days ahead.
Thank you, Dan. Looks like a big job. Well, here's a group of high schoolers who wanted to make sure that fear of the pandemic didn't prevent anyone from heading to the polls. The Tennessee teens came up with a safe vote kit and distributed hundreds of them to voters before the big day. Hannah McDonald reports.
So I'm the first person puts hand sanitizer in a bag, and then we have gloves that go in and masks.
The items in these bags are your ticket to health this year.
I work at a retirement home, and so this whole pandemic has been a crazy experience to me.
In her high school gym, Clara Murph is working with her friends on a campaign to help people of all ages feel safe at the polls.
It's very important to vote. Someone fought for your right to vote, and so you should use it.
To make it a little easier, flip the mask over.
These Harpeth Hall students came up with the idea before early voting started. When they saw the long lines for the first time, they picked it up even more.
It was just extraordinary to us, and at that moment, we knew that, we were in business.
In just 2 weeks' time, the girls stuffed roughly 1,000 safe vote kits for strangers. They are taking them to organizations like 50 Forward and the store, where they're passed out to people who are most at risk for COVID-19.
Well, we made like 150 in an hour last time, right? Well done to all of y'all, and thank you so much.
Most of the girls won't get to use a kit themselves because they're not old enough to vote.
It's amazing that these underage voters can come out and just participate in this activity.
All they ask in return is that you put the safe vote kit to use.
Doesn't matter where you're voting or who you're voting for, it just matters that you vote and that you go out and do your civil duty.
Thank you, Hannah. While we wait to be able to tell you the election results, our own NewsDepth presidential poll results are ready to share. We ask you who you would choose as president. Drum roll, please. It was an incredibly close call, but the majority of you chose Donald Trump to remain as president. Look at those percentages. It just goes to show each vote is important and can make a difference. Well, I wonder if the nation agreed with you. We also ask you to write to us about what issues are important to you when choosing a president. Let's see what you had to say by opening up our inbox. Alana from Summit Elementary in Cincinnati wrote, "If I were able to vote, there would be different issues that I would search for in choosing a president. I would look for a smart, educated candidate who has good leadership. They would need to respect all people, whether it's race, gender, religion, or anything else unique about someone. I also believe that a good president should give and not take, and respect what they are given. To me, I would say that these are the highlights of a good leader, and that is what is important to me in choosing a president." Here's one from Calvin at Greentown Intermediate in North Canton. "One issue that is important when choosing a president is how much they care about the environment. Because of what is happening right now, I think we have forgotten about the polluted oceans and deforestation. I know a cure for COVID-19 is important, but if there are no forests, what will we do?" Sarah from Bellevue Elementary in Bellevue wrote, "Making sure you choose the right president can be hard, but ask yourself, do they have good leadership? Can they be serious and goofy at the right moments? And how hardworking are they?" Harrison from Maryland Elementary in Bexley wrote, "I think when you are choosing a president, it is important to think about health care, especially because of COVID-19. We need a leader that can help us through these hard times. We also have to consider racism because everyone is a person and they deserve to be treated fairly. Next, we have to think about if they will be a good president and keep everyone safe and consider everyone's ideas, or be the opposite and put everyone in danger and consider only their ideas. That is what I think is important when choosing a president." And finally, Michaela from Orville Middle School in Orville wrote, "An issue that is important to me when choosing a president is the crime rate. I want to know I am protected from crime. I'm not looking for a president that just eliminates crime. I want them to fight against it." Well, thank you for those letters, and we certainly appreciate the great thought you put into them. Whoever gets the top spot this year, one thing is certain though, they won't be from Ohio. Wah, wah. Mr. Trump's from New York, but he lives in Florida now. Biden moved from Pennsylvania to Delaware when he was about your age. Even the third-party candidates on the ballot, Joe Jorgensen and Howie Hawkins, are from Illinois and California, respectively. But Ohio is still one of the top states for raising presidents. Mary Fecto has the details about one of our own in this week's No Ohio.
Both Ohio and Virginia claim to have produced more presidents than any other state. So who's right? Well, it depends on how you look at it. Both states claim 8 presidents, including one that was born in Virginia but spent most of his life here. His name was William Henry Harrison. Harrison was born in Charles City County, Virginia in 1773 on his family's plantation. His father, Benjamin, had been a delegate in the Continental Congress and even signed the Declaration of Independence. Clearly, an interest in politics ran in the family. After his father passed away, Harrison entered the military, where he fought in the Northwest Indian War. He was part of the decisive victory at the Battle of Fallen Timbers in modern-day Maumee, Ohio, which ended the war in 1794. The victory gave the United States control over a sizable patch of land in the Great Lakes region, which they called the Northwest Territory, and it included Ohio, of course. When he was 22, Harrison married Anna Tuthill Sims, who was from present-day North Bend, Ohio. With his new bride at his side, he decided to step away from the Army and start his political career as the Secretary of the Northwest Territory. When the Indiana Territory broke off from the Northwest Territory, he became its governor. He was in charge of defending the territory from Native American tribes and extending into new settlements, and he did so through military force. During what was called the War of 1812, he had major victories at the Battle of Thames and the Battle of Tippecanoe, giving him the nickname Tippecanoe. After all this, Harrison was ready to return to civilian life, but at that point, he was a celebrated military hero, and the newly founded Whig Party nominated him as their candidate for president. He ran with John Tyler as his vice president. The two held rallies and events to get voter support, which was seen as inappropriate at the time. Their campaign slogan was Tippecanoe and Tyler too. And of course, with a slogan like that, he had a big win, becoming the 9th president of the United States. But sadly, his tenure was cut short. Harrison caught pneumonia and died after only serving 31 days in office. He became the first president to die in office. But his death and the events thereafter set an important precedent in American history. Precedent means an earlier event or action that is regarded as an example or a guide to be considered in future similar circumstances. Harrison's vice president, John Tyler, assumed the role of president, which set the precedent for the transfer of power after the deaths of presidents in the future. It wasn't until after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy that an amendment was added to the Constitution in 1967 to include that the vice president will take control of the office if the president dies, resigns, or is removed from office. And by the way, Harrison's grandson Benjamin later became the 23rd president. And that President Harrison was born in the Buckeye State, in North Bend, the city where his grandparents had settled many decades before.
Thank you, Mary. Well, maybe this year's president won't be a Buckeye, but I could see a few of you growing up to do some great things. All right, let's round out this block of political stories with an update I promised at the end of last episode. It's official now. Amy Coney Barrett is now Supreme Court Justice Barrett. She replaces the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but her appointment wasn't without controversy. The 52-48 vote by senators to approve her fell largely along party lines. Party line means a policy that is approved by a particular political party. Senator Susan Collins of Maine was the only Republican senator to break ranks and vote nay with the Democrats. It is one of the quickest nomination proceedings in modern times. Darrell Forge reports.
The nomination of Amy Coney Barrett of Indiana to be an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States is confirmed.
Judge Amy Coney Barrett joining the highest court in the land.
It is the job of a judge to resist her policy preferences.
The contentious appointment comes amid vocal protests on the steps of the Supreme Court, both for
Confirm Amy now!
and against her confirmation. The Senate's fast-tracking of Barrett's confirmation solidifies a 6-3 conservative majority. In response, some opponents suggested expanding the size of the Supreme Court.
I don't want to pack the court. I don't want to change the number. I don't want to have to do that. But if all of this rule breaking is taking place, what does the majority expect?
Barrett joins the Supreme Court as the justices are ready to take action on a number of important petitions, including several related to election. The potential conflict of interest is a major concern for Democrats.
In Donald Trump, we have a president who has openly stated that he needs Judge Barrett on the Supreme Court to cast a crucial vote if cases arising out of a disputed election reach the court.
In defense, Republicans point to her qualifications and her integrity.
She is a staggering academic mind. She is incredibly honest and forthright.
In Washington, I'm Darrell Forges.
Thanks, Darrell. Okay, let's turn our attention to Mother Nature. She's been lending a hand with those wildfires out west. Remember, we told you a few weeks back about the Cameron Fire, the largest in Colorado history. Well, the fire is still burning, but firefighters received a bit of help as several inches of snow fell there last week. As Sean Toole reports, the folks there are just glad to have something else falling from the sky that's not ash.
While it's quiet on campus, the roads were a little noisy and not a joy to be out on.
That was interesting. I keep a shovel in my car. I drive a tiny little Honda, so I'm kind of used to getting stuck, and if I do, I just jump out and shovel my way out. There are a lot of people that were stuck along the sides or getting out of their streets.
We saw a few cars stuck alongside the road. Thankfully, Good Samaritans helped pull them out. But this storm isn't unexpected.
It's October in Colorado. We always get one around Halloween, towards the end of October.
But just to the west is the Cameron Peak and East Troublesome fires, which has Silver Grill Cafe GM Amanda Ulloa in Fort Collins thankful for the blanket of snow.
It's definitely lessened the ash that's falling on us for sure.
For months, that ash was what was lining the sidewalks and falling from the sky.
Last week, in between every corners on the streets, you could see ash build up. We've been constantly sweeping. When people sit on patios, it's been falling into their food. It's been constant for a couple months now.
So as this winter weather becomes more normal, She hopes to worry less about the fires and more about navigating the cold at her restaurant.
It's going to be a rough winter with that for sure.
Hopefully they only continue to see this type of precipitation from the sky.
Thanks, Sean. Across the country, in Georgia, a pair of teen girls aren't digging up snow, but weeds as they work their way toward becoming Eagle Scouts. They are some of the first females in the country to go for the Eagle Scout rank. Their big community project is overseeing construction of a butterfly garden at their local middle school. Bernd Peterson reports they're now on their way to making history.
Kaylin DeMattei says some things are worth the effort.
The weeds were like as tall as me, and so we had to shovel them all down, and it took a long time to do.
Kaylin and her friend Betsy Chapeau are scouts, and both are chasing the highest honor a scout can achieve.
I've never done anything this big, and I've never led a group of people before that were like including grown-ups.
They're on a quest to become Eagle Scouts. They started 19 months ago when the Boy Scouts of America became Scouts BSA and allowed girls to join separate troops.
So when they allowed the girls into Scouts, Halen's like, yes, I want to do it. And I said, okay, let's do it. So we started a troop.
Making the rank of Eagle isn't something they just give to a scout. You got to earn it, and it's not easy.
Most kids, it takes them anywhere 4 to 5 years to accomplish what these girls have done at the age of 13.
There you go.
Halen and Betsy have each earned more than 24 merit badges, and they'll be part of the very first all-girls Eagle class.
Not a lot of people get their Eagle Scout. They usually quit because it's a really long process, but if I stuck with it, so it's good.
Thanks, Bernd. Well, those scouts have us inspired for this week's write-in question. We want you to write to us about a project you would start to help your community. You can find the inbox form beneath this episode online or on the NewsDepth homepage. Well, fall is upon us, and plenty of you are probably tasked with raking up leaves and picking up sticks around this time of year. I know I've been doing plenty of that. But for the artist featured in this week's sketchbook, it's how you pile those sticks that's an opportunity to be extra creative. North Carolina artist Patrick Doherty uses primitive building techniques to create large outdoor sculptures in nature, from nature. Right now, you can surround yourself in his installation, Tilt-A-Whirl. It's on view at the Holden Arboretum in Kirtland. Take a look.
I just wanted to be a sculptor. And so I went back to school, and so that put me on a good path to making a living and making a life's work out of it. Well, I always think that people love to look out and see a path that's going off into the woods, And so there's a sense of that when you see this work. There are a lot of doors and windows, and you imagine, oh, maybe I could go in there. Maybe I could. And when other people are in there, they're enlivening it. So if you see somebody in there, you think, I could go in there too. Starting point for this one, we looked at a lot of secret insect trails that are in the garden. If you look on the back of leaves, if you look at the ground, insects make like little pathways. So we took that boring pattern and we laid it out on the ground. We scaled it up, the intertwining of the sticks. Make a very strong wall that you can use, and you can feature all kinds of strange architectural details of having walls and flying buttresses and leaning over and leaning one way and then another. So I get a big stick like this, and I know it's too long for me to pull through, so I'll make two pieces out of it. I can use that top in a different way. Sometimes I'll bend the thing just slightly because I'm trying to make it a little bit more flexible. Then I'll drive it down in here like this. I wanted to cross these two pieces because Xing is also a way that make lines look more interesting. So, I've learned to use sticks in lots of different ways. It's a slow process of building up the kind of quality of line. So it just work at it for hours. Pretty soon you have something that people really aren't enticed by. They really want to be able to come over and explore this. Usually you get about 2 good years. You get one great year and one pretty good year.
and you try to take the piece down while it still looks good. Because, you know, this is a public exhibition, and you want it to be serviceable right to its very end. So close to the 2-year mark, the garden will start evaluating it and say, well, maybe it could stay up another month, maybe another month. And so at a certain point, just like some of the flower beds that fade here, they'll say, hey, let's plant something new.
And to think, all this time I've just been putting my sticks in the bonfire or out on the curb for pickup. Should have known. Well, Patrick's installation, Tilt-A-Whirl, will be open year-round at the Holden Arboretum in Kirtland. Now, just a couple of weeks, we'll be taking a Thanksgiving break, just like you. For college students, heading home for turkey dinner, though, might come with a side of COVID testing. At the State University of New York system, or SUNY for short, a new policy requires college students to take a COVID test before heading home on break. The goal is to keep them from spreading the illness to their families back at home. Fajia Peterson has details.
Students like Sekou Tori and Brandon Reynolds are all for a new SUNY policy in which students must get tested for COVID-19 before leaving for Thanksgiving.
My family, specifically, they don't have the best immune system. Both my parents are sick, so I don't want to bring it to them.
I believe it's for everybody's safety, and that's basically the bottom line.
Now 64 colleges and universities within the system must come up with plans to test 140,000 students by November 5th. Nearly 3,150 positive COVID-19 cases were reported among SUNY students and staff this fall. SUNY Chancellor Jim Malatra says that at the start of the school year, not all students at SUNY were tested for COVID-19. For Thanksgiving break, he is insisting on changing that.
That would be really stupid to have everybody just go home without COVID testing.
It just matters a lot to me because I work at a grocery store at home, and so I don't want to be exposing everyone in the town.
If you are taking at least one class, working and using on-campus facilities, you are required to follow the mandate. Anyone who tests positive will have to isolate and quarantine for 2 weeks.
As many of our students are going back home, we want to give our families and our students and their families that they're coming over for Thanksgiving and other things confidence that we are maximizing all of our public health protections.
The SUNY chancellor also says that it is possible that students will be required to have COVID tests before they return for the start of the spring semester, but that has not been finalized.
Thanks, Fajia. Now, maybe some of you have older siblings or cousins in college, so for this week's poll, we want to know if you think college students going on breaks should be tested for COVID. Head to our online poll to vote. You can choose from yes before going home, yes when coming back to school, yes both before and after going home, or nope, I don't think it's necessary. How about we take a break from the news to see what awesome work some of you have been up to? Time to hand out this week's NewsDepth A+ Award. Our A+ Award goes to 12-year-old Ashton Staten. He's a student at Lamouth Middle School, and he's in the hospital, fighting to recover from a rare disease. Our A+ Award also goes to all the students and teachers and parents at the Riverside School District and beyond who've been showing Ashton their love and support. Let's ask Ashton's dad, Matt Staten, about Ashton. He'll tell you that this 12-year-old is a stud who loves all sports, especially baseball, football, and basketball. He loves to practice and drills to get better, but Ashton's also the first one on the fence cheering on a teammate because that's the kind of kid he is. But this summer, what started as headaches quickly proved to be an extremely serious situation. Ashton was admitted to the Cleveland Clinic and was put in a medically induced coma for months to better his chances of recovery. The doctors determined he has a rare type of encephalitis. Needless to say, it's been a really hard time for his family. But what's really blown Ashton's family away is how the entire community has come out to show their support and their love, and to help raise money for Ashton's medical bills. Hashtag Staten Strong and hashtag Ashton Strong are two hashtags you'll see on Twitter and on shirts and on athletes' arms during games. Whether it's the football team or the soccer team or the volleyball team, high school athletes all around Painesville have been showing number 13 that they are Staten Strong and that they have his back. Lamouth principal Nick Orlando said the school has decorated Ashton's locker, thrown spirit days for him, and most importantly, are reserving a desk for when he comes back to school. Meanwhile, all throughout the community, kids and adults have held fundraisers to raise money for the family's medical bills. The family is more than halfway on their goal to their GoFundMe page. Ashton's dad, Matt, says he doesn't have the words to express how much all the support has meant to him and his family. He says thank you doesn't even come close. The Staten family has been overwhelmed in a positive way and says these kids show more compassion than many adults show. What Matt wants for his son Ashton is a full recovery. He says Ashton is a special kid, always has been, and always will be. So this A+ award is for you, Ashton, and your family, and all your classmates and friends far and wide who've got your back. We're all #StatenStrong. That includes Newscat, too. Let's see what she's pawed up for this week's petting zoo. Time for lunch. Hey, Newscat, what is that, a lunch break? Nah, get back to work. Okay, there we go, look at those paws. Whoa, she found a story about a pair of raccoon robbers breaking into a bank. To find out what the furry bandits took without asking, click the Petting Zoo button on our website. Thank you, Newscat. While you're online checking out that video, why not take a minute to drop us a note? You know we want to hear from you, and there are plenty of ways to stay in touch. You can write to us. We're at 1375 Euclid Avenue, that's Cleveland, Ohio. Our zip code's 44115. You can email us at newsdepth@ideastream.org, or you can tweet us. Our handle is @NewsDepthOhio. Plus, you can catch all of our special segments on YouTube, and if you're old enough, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our new videos. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rick Jackson. We'll see you right back here next week.
NewsDepth is made possible by a grant from the Martha Holden Jennings Foundation.